Outer Orange.
Welcome in, YouTube people, Twitch chat people, my homies, the peels. We are doing today a yoink and twist. That is right, we're going to be yoinking and twisting someone's content and taking pretty much something that they're doing, and we're going to do it too because I don't know, I just feel like it. It's fun. You know who we're yoinking? You guys ready for it? Ready? Ready? 3, 2, 1. This guy right here, curly-haired hero or curly-haired Vanguard, how we want to do it. This is the homie we're yoinking today, so do not forget to check out their channel. And don't worry, you'll see in like 2 seconds. Hello, Nara Samurai, welcome in. We got the cultured glasses on today. Got the culture on. Let's go find Curly. Let's go find Curly's content, everything. Start on the actual YouTube channel. Look at all these wonderful channels. Curly haired Vanguard, let's go, there they are. Give them a sub, give them a follow, do whatever. See all this content. We're gonna yoink one of these. Like, see this, see boom. You guys should check out this video when you get the chance. Anyway, welcome to the yoink and twist of curly haired Vanguard's tier list here. So he did a tier list on pretty much all the sets of Overdress, and we are going to be doing a similar thing, not exactly the same, but we're actually going to rank these sets based off how they impact meta. And this is going to be for premium and overdress, so we'll see as these sets go kind of how they impacted the meta. And then we have to have a learner C.5 tier as per usual. Learner, don't you think I forgot about you? Don't you think that I woke up one day and was like, I don't remember who learner is? Don't you worry, homie, we never forget our homies. We never forget our homies. So here's C.5, the learner tier. Let's get started. I think these are in order. I would assume these are in order. They look like they're in order. And wow, you even got this one in solid. And you got the collabs in here. Look at you, Curly. Look at you. Curly's doing the world justice. All right, guys, let's get started. Set 1. Guys, it has been over a year. The official first set of the reboot of Overdress came out on May 21st of the 2021 year. We're currently now in July 13th, 2022. So it officially has been it's been a year and a couple months, right, since we've had the reboot. Set 1 was the beginning of it all. How much did it impact the meta? The answer to this question is 100% S tier. S tier. S tier. This set was the beginning of a reboot. This set, even though it was the beginning of Overdress, it impacted the meta pretty heavily. Not even so much for like Overdress itself, but even more so for premium. Because like I said, we're kind of discussing the overall impact of Vanguard. What did this set do? What did this set bring? This set brought a lot. This is the beginning of Overtriggers. This is the set that officially brought the Overtrigger to the game. Like, we didn't have a thing like OT before. Like, the beginning of OT to pass started here. You know what I mean? So like, this set is insanely impactful in my opinion. I think this is actually one of the most impactful sets, and even to this day, this is actually a very pricey set to get stuff from, because the perfect guards are also unique in this set as well. So this is definitely an impactful set. Another thing that's impactful about the set is that this is the beginning of persona rides, where there's a lot of stuff in here. Let's look at the set real quick, y'all. So if we look, see, here's the perfect guards and over triggers and everything else. So pretty you know, pretty spooky stuff. But like I said, persona ride also started in the set, along with a couple minor things here and there. Like, it's not like a drastic like I think the cards themselves didn't change too much, but I think the new mechanics that we got as Card Fight Vanguard was like probably where the biggest change started happening. We even got, by the way, this does impact premium as well, but Eugene did come out in the set, and Eugene is actually a pretty viable deck. So that's another thing to keep in mind. This is also for Overdress, the beginning of Bruce evolving specifically and Bastion evolving, because as we remember from the very beginning of Overdress, Bruce and Bastion were the best decks, and they only got better with this set dropping. Another thing that came out of the set was the Soul Body Condensation, which officially opened up the ability to revive in the entire Stoicheia nation. Not just Grand Blue anymore, but the entire nation can choose to revive if they want to with a Soul Blast cost. So it's pretty wild how much this set actually, like, the more I think about it, the more I realize how much the set it has impacted. Like, it's not just the Overtriggers and the perfect guards. There's actually quite a lot. Even the double draw discard. This card, this ride line, actually, this whole ride line impacts Overdress to this day. It has been literally over a year, and this ride line is still being run. It's still being used. There's some ride lines in here that people forgot about, that people don't even use anymore. I mean, there's obviously like the Dragon Empire ride line. I don't know. That's probably still being used because it literally searches out of Arena. But some of these ride lines are kind of forgotten about. Like, who plays Hexa Orb nowadays? You know, so some of this stuff got forgotten. But there's actually a lot of stuff that still sticks around. We still have Alina. Alina is still being used. A lot of prison support is still being used too. Like, Selfish Engraver is literally one of the strongest cards that came out for Dark States. So There's over 30 plus ride lines in D. There is over 30 plus ride lines in D, and it only impacts that board the fact that a lot of these cards, even though it's been 6, technically 7 if you include collabs, even more sets, and we're still using some of these cards, so it's pretty wild. So that is that. That's that. I think this is a solid S tier set. Literally, Dark Strain got restricted in the set. When your best card is a common, it's pretty wild, but it's facts, right? It's facts. But definitely, like I said, the top of the tier of this is definitely the PGs and OT, because that was definitely a drastic change, both for premium and obviously for Vanguard players and people coming into the game. So I definitely think that this set in particular is, I would say, I'm not gonna change this. I'm not gonna change the grade. I'm gonna change this to, oh my god, this set did a lot. I wouldn't say it's great. It did a lot. I think did a lot would be better. So going on, this is set 2. So this is a brush. Oh, whoops, a brush with the legends. Now this set was not very impactful to premium, I feel like, but it was a decently impactful set to overdress. Mainly separated the ride lines even more. In when set 1 was released, of course we had Bastion and Bruce being the main decks. But then set 2 came out and it only made that even more obvious. Like, so honestly, I remember this was the pissy set. This was the set that everyone was mad. This one is also the set with the front triggers. This was a huge difference because Lyrical Monasterio came out around this time. Now keep in mind, we got our sets a little bit later, but Lyrical Monasterio was starting to like almost drop or about to drop. And honestly, that impact of front triggers did make a difference because Lyrical didn't have access to these, keep in mind. But that's right, we had, this is the front trigger set. I think this set impacted every deck decently in terms of it gave it support, but the difference between Bastion and Bruce was just so different that the other decks weren't getting impacted enough. Like we got like Turquoise and a couple of these other cards, but they weren't really doing much. Obviously the Draconic Overlord and Phantom Blaster Dragon, while very cool stuff, wasn't really doing too much, as like they didn't impact the meta at all. Like this, right, you see these cards right here, these two, the boys, they were the only thing that was pretty much like why would you want to take other things? But let me look through just to be sure. Blaster Dark came out in this set, which is pretty good for like, you know, premium people. Thumbarino also dropped. This is also the Orphis set. Orphis got a couple decent cards, and yeah, here's this card. This is the card I was thinking of. And Urgula impacted premium pretty well. This was a very good thing for Sturkea players. Wild Intelligence did drop in the set, which helped Zorga out and Magnolia out this decks, but honestly the impact overall just wasn't that crazy in this set in comparison to like everything else. We also did get the Orphis Order in this set. I'm kind of just looking through, and we got this guy. I remember this guy was pretty strong as well. And we got the new Verena and stuff. Overall, I think the set was decent. I don't think this is like a meta-defining set as much as set 1 was. I don't think any of these are going to be nearly as meta-defining as set 1 ended up being, just because of how impactful that entire set was. Yeah, it was an okay set. It was definitely an okay set. I think the front triggers is probably the greatest thing that came out of these, and like a couple misc things that came, and there's a couple like splashes of support that to kind of push some decks came out. I think this is a B set. It is something. Sets 3, Advance of the Intertwined Stars. Now this is the set that had the crit triggers in them. This is also a set where Flagberg comes out. This is also the Gravidia set. This is actually a pretty intense set. I think on release this set was like decent, and then it kind of started ramping up, mainly because Gravidia started to become a thing. Gravidia World started to become a thing. People started realizing what you can do with Gravidia. Flagberg was sadly pushed to the side. That's fine. The crit triggers came out, which is good because it was soul inducing. Didn't do anything for premium. Let's go ahead and look at. Let's revisit. Let's revisit set 3. See what in the world was going on in there. Came out for, yeah, Greedon came out. That's right. This is a god. I always forget Greedon came out in the set. Greedon did drop in the set, which was it was definitely a thing for premium, because premium definitely got. There's also the Shadow Cloak set. So honestly, I think so. Personally, I already think this set did more for like a card fight, you know, for us in both premium and overdress than the set we just looked at. 100%. So here in this set we have our beautiful DSRs. There they are. But there's you can't see Gravidia, but there's Gravidia. Here's Flagberg. There's the Shadow Cloak, which by the way directly impacted bugs. It wasn't quite there yet, I think. But I think this is actually the set that has the common in it. Let me double check. If this is the set that has the common, this is definitely like an A tier, S tier set, like pretty much without a doubt. Is this the set with the common in it? Is Ruination in here? When Ruination drop? Yes, this is the Ruination set. So Ruination's right here. Okay, this set is an insta A tier set. It has to be at least A tier just because this card exists. This is the common. Set 2 is more Garbo tier. Yeah, set 2 pretty much isn't that good. I better see set 3 in Garbo tier. No. Set 3 isn't bad. Set 3 isn't bad. Set tier, we're talking about premium and overdress. We're talking about card fight Vanguard as a whole, not just overdress. We're talking about like overall. Like, how did these sets directly impact card fight Vanguard? Honestly, if you were to just focus on D, I think the set was like okay. Because people started realizing Gravidia pretty late. Gravidia started being noticed once BRO started happening, but I think prior to that, a lot of people actually weren't they weren't really on the Gravidia boat. And then, you know, there was that big article that came out about like Gravidia Worlds and how you could put Orphis stuff into your Gravidia stuff. But that again started happening a little bit later. It didn't happen like instantly. Flagberg, Inlet Post, Inlet Post did not come out in this set. Inlet Post actually came out in the next set after. That's why Flagberg, this set was actually dog crap. Flagberg was not doing good. I mean, the impact was what? Gravidia, some pieces of Order Colony. I mean, it impacted pretty well. Gravidia was doing its thing. Crit Triggers came out. Shadow Cloak came out. I don't think it's an S tier set, but I think this is a solid A tier set. The Crit Triggers came out for Overdress, which is good because a lot of decks need even extra soul. It made Barra Magnus better. I'd say the set has some good stuff in it. And Bugs literally became a deck. Like, Bugs hasn't been a deck for like how many years now? Like since you know Katrina since Ghidorah got like literally like printed. It's been a while. I think this directly impacted premium. Once the set dropped, premium still got order colony essentially, and order colony became one of the best decks in premium. So I personally think that this set actually did a very good impact. It did enough. I did more than I think set 2 did personally. Like set 2 had the front triggers. And the front triggers aren't bad. I do think they're what carrying that set, but honestly, nothing else but Leonardo in there was really doing much. So I'm gonna put it in A tier. I actually think this set did quite a bit of work, especially for premium. I think premium got the bigger end of this. Zorga and a couple other decks also got access to really good cards. Some of those side cards, kind of similar to this. There was a lot of good side cards and like a couple main cards that did, but I think this was a good one. It wasn't a fun format though. I will say, like, whether you're in premium or in overdress, this wasn't a fun time because honestly, it went from this to this, and like almost nothing changed in terms of like directly impacting like how fun the game was, because Flagberg wasn't doing enough. Gravidia was the most interesting thing out of this, and honestly Gravidia to this day is still obviously existing as an A tier, S tier, whatever you want to call it, deck. I don't really know where to put it, but it's a good deck, you know what I mean? So I think just because of that, I think the set's in a good spot. Let's go down here. Let's look. We got set 4. Pretty sure, yeah, this is set 4. Set 4. Now this is a big set. This is a big set. It actually may make me want to think this one to like B+ tier. Keep in mind, these aren't set in stone. We can move them around. This is the grade 4 sets. This is the set that actually directly impacted the entire meta of overdress specifically. I don't think premium got touched by this nearly as badly, but the Inlet Post did come out in this set too, if I'm not mistaken. However, overdress drastically changed on this set. This was a huge difference. Let's go look at that set real quick as well. Let's go take a peek. See. You think it's the best set? I think in terms of impact to the meta, definitely probably up there. I don't know which one is more impactful. The fact that grade 4s came out, or that over triggers and the new perfect guards came out. That's a tough one in my opinion. I don't know which one's better in that case. So this is the set 4. This is when we got all the grade 4s for pretty much all the trial decks. We got Bruce, we got Nirvana, we got Bastion, we got Prison, and we got Magnolia. So this, and we got Buffsaga support continued. I would say the Buffsaga support was kind of like this. We had a trial deck pretty much in between these two sets, set 3 and set 4. And the trial deck, like it was a good deck. It's a good deck. I just don't think it's like it has nearly as much impact as like the grade 4 decks did at the time. We also got Inlet Pulse in this set, which is another huge thing, and we got the new draws in this set as well. So this was actually in terms of overdress alone, this was a very impactful set. This is actually a pretty intense set. Like obviously the meta shifted drastically with this one. It pretty much made everything better. Like I think everything got better. So like all the decks got better, and then the meta drastically shifted on top of that. Also, we got the SP boy, and then Gravidia got better off this set. Like honestly, yeah, I think this is a straight S tier set. I don't see anything aside from Greedon, because Greedon just doesn't exist, right? I mean, it might exist in the future. No offense to Greedon players. I think the deck is cool. Don't get me wrong. The deck is a deck, but sadly it's not a deck that can perform against whatever this all is. Whatever all this is, Greedon is nowhere near on that level, unfortunately. Oh, we also got Travis in this set too. Travis is also an amazing card. I think we got some, and we also got this. This was another direct impact to premium as well, as it forces your opponent to have to rest their cards, which is actually really good in DP. This card is still being run in DP as of right now, so another really good thing. We also got some future cards that are going to directly impact some other stuff. So yeah, I think this is a straight 10. We're gonna put it right here. We can kind of debate on it. Oh yeah, because they pushed it back, didn't they? Didn't they push the set back? I remember because we were in set 3 meta for like months. First, let's do lyrical first. Actually, how directly did lyrical impact? Now keep in mind we got lyrical a little bit late, so honestly lyrical is kind of a tough one. Let's look at lyrical real quick. I will say honestly, this set, I think if we got it sooner, this set would have been a direct impact to the meta, specifically like 3 decks. But because we got it, yeah, Laurent was good. Laurent was good. There were actually other decks that were doing pretty decent, but keep in mind this is the time when we had the crit trigger restriction. So so in Japan, about like a month before this set dropped, at least for English, they said that you can no longer run 12 crits in your deck. It has to be 8, right? Or pretty much all triggers went to 8s, except for heals and OT, the ones that have a special restriction on them. So there was a different meta kind of happening because the triggers were a different spot. Laurent could be played at 12. To be honest with you, Laurent was the only thing that was directly impacting the D meta, and I think to this day that deck still is somewhat viable. I wouldn't say it's like perfect, but it's still, as if you get a little lucky, honestly, you can just crit your opponent out when they can't perfect guard. This is the lyrical OT set and the perfect guard set as well, so keep in mind of that as well. I don't think this is like a dog crap set, but I do think it's like C tier, maybe even learner C.5 tier. I think that's probably where it'll end up being. Keep in mind, Highlander is also big, and actually a lot of decks, a lot of cards, even in this set, and I think in set 2 has a lot of weird like things that you can run with like Highlander stuff too. It's nothing major, but you can run it. Also, Ballista Riviera is a deck, but it's like so it's so side stuff that it's not like anything huge, but it's another thing that you can do. Felty Rosa was kind of a deck, and like Elisteel were kind of a decks when the crits were at 12 along with Laurent, but when the crits went back to 8, a lot of these decks got kind of shafted like really hard, especially when we got them, because we got them super delayed, unfortunately. Since this is the first one, but C also works. I think it's either here or here. Like this is the safe tier. This is just like the in between, so it's C split right in half. This is just the in between, like the kind of almost the indecisive set. This is usually where I put my stuff that I just don't know how to answer. But I think C tier is good. I think this is a good spot for it. It did some stuff, it just didn't do anything like super crazy. Nothing like out of this world. So let's talk about Token Rambu. Token Rambu honestly is probably the worst out of these right now. I think Token Rambu did absolutely nothing. And I mean absolutely nothing for D and definitely for premium. There might be some people coping for premium, hoping that they could do something in their premium decks, but didn't impact premium even with the over trigger, by the way. Even with the OT, nothing changed here, which is sad because this set is so beautiful. It's a really beautiful set. I love how they did all the borders and stuff, but honestly, I don't think there's a single, especially English. In Japan at least had like their like week or two moment of where they could kind of enjoy the set until other stuff dropped. But honestly, by the time we got it, this set was just in the water somewhere. So I think this is probably the worst set and absolutely has no impact on anything that has happened. Now, Lyrical 2 was the set that people really didn't like when the cards were getting revealed. This was kind of a weird one. So this is the set that we had a continuation of Grade 4s come out. So keep in mind, during this time, Grade 4s were dominating the meta. Obviously, they've still been dominating the meta. And then we have the Kyrie Grade 4 that also came out along with this. This is a mainly Kyrie set. So honestly, if we look at this ride line here and this ride line here, they're not like this ride line. Honestly, we don't want to talk about this. As beautiful as this card is, we don't talk about Herminia. However, for Tia for Isha, whatever her name was, she did like a little bit, but it's not enough. This set, however, did impact, at least for me personally, I think this brought some like flavor for premium as well, because we got like access to Eileen, which by the way, Bermuda players do actually run Eileen in their decks now, just because they can. It's an OTT card. The draw triggers definitely help. The crit triggers help. The front triggers help. This is like more of a premium set. However, Kyrie came out in this set too, and Kyrie definitely 100% shifted the meta. Like 100% is a thing. Kyrie coming out like actually pushed the meta for people to start playing more Kyrie, and she actually contested Magnolia and the other strong decks at the time, which is like Vidia, Barrow, Bastion, all those decks. Like this was contesting with those decks, right? So I think this is better than this set, but I think it's more impactful than this set. So I think this is a B tier set. I honestly, let's put it up here. I think it's better than this set. I think it did a lot of work. It didn't do like that, like a crazy amount, but it did some stuff. Actually, we'll say I think set 3 is still better because set 3 again like did a pretty big impact on premium and overdress or semi impact for both, whereas this one was mainly an overdress impact and did very little for premium. So let's go along to set 5. So we recently actually just got this set not too long ago. So this is still kind of like, you know, pretty fresh in our minds. Pretty fresh set right here. This is the 10th anniversary set pretty much. So this one has a very similar look to how like the old set was. I wasn't around for this set. I was doing something else with my life. I wasn't playing Card Fight Vanguard when the original of this set came out, but we are now here. So this is another encounter set. Let's go take a look at it real quick. Yeah, this is a nostalgia set, but actually not a terrible nostalgia set, to be honest. This is also the new Ride Line set. So this is a couple things. So this was so Phantom Blaster Overlord got you know, his stuff. PBO pretty much came out officially. Dragonic Overlord at the end came out with this set as well. And then we also got the Blaster Blade finally, who's right here. He's hiding right here. And then we also got the shiny edition and all that kind of stuff. This is also the Thurgrea set, and this is also the like what was it? Oh yeah, this is the Tamaria set, and this is the Eva set, and this is the Roroa set, and the Maple set. So there's actually quite a few things that I think have kind of yeah, Dina Main came out, which is really good for people over on premium as well, since you can put stuff into Soul, put your Luars into Soul, have a good time. I think the direct impacts here is definitely Maple. For both D and premium, I think Maple is probably the biggest impact because you can run it, and Domain is probably another really big impact. I think in terms of D alone, I think the Tamaria coming out is definitely an addition. It actually slows flag break down quite a lot. This is a very scary matchup into flag break, so something to keep in mind. The Gray is okay, but it didn't change the overall Bastion and Bruce situation that's been going on. Like those decks are still like obviously probably the best decks in their nation. Honestly, outside of PBO, I actually think PBO is actually pretty good now. The Gray is solid. No, the Gray is good. It's just not like if you were to pick any Keter Sanctuary deck to take to an event or something like that, the Gray would not be the best option to pick, but she can be pretty rough. I think the constant persona rides can wrap up. I do think about 2 or maybe 1 or 2 more cards, and this deck can easily be like a contester for like. But I don't think this deck, however, currently does not impact the meta at all. And even when it dropped, it didn't really impact the meta. Like you don't really see much difference. Like in Japan, I think people were kind of having more fun with it, but I think over here, people really aren't like doing too much with it. Like I haven't heard people talk about Thurgrea, nor have I seen any results for her. So I'm gonna just assume that it's just not doing too high. I think it's okay. It's definitely the one of the better ones of the Ride Lines, but I think in terms of like it directly impacting us as like overdress people, it hasn't really been doing much. It's kind of nice. Yeah, you can also run the triple drive thing where you pretty much get an extra drive and go that route if you want. Tamaria was a pretty good impact too. A lot of people really like that 15k front that she gives pretty much passively and all that kind of stuff. And then we also got a couple token stuff. This is the Roroa token set as well. It's okay. I think PBO got a really big upgrade from this set. I was one of those people that thought PBO was like absolutely just awful, and then I tested it and I was like, wait a second, this deck actually isn't bad at all. You can also run Radilina and kind of do like weird stuff in like Dragon Empire and like other decks, but not specifically, you know, just in her own like deck. You can run her in other decks and kind of do her thing. Chaos dropped in here, but sadly Chaos isn't really doing too hot right this very second, but that's okay. It's just Chaos. But when I played it, it's a blast. Yeah. PBO is definitely. I slept on that deck so hard. I literally only picked it up because like I already had all the cards except Nemain and PBO. So I was like, yeah, sure, I'll try it. Like my friend literally owned the old version of the deck. This is also the heal trigger set. I actually forgot to bring that. I always forget about these heals until I look at them or someone reminds me. This is indeed the heal trigger set. Have heal triggers impacted the meta? Honestly, currently no, but in the future they might. But right now they're really not doing too much for us. Both this heal trigger and the other one. I think the other one, the Festival Collection one, actually is a little bit more impactful. But overall, I don't think this set has done too much for us. If you were to come to me, just walk up to me and go, Orange, can you tell me something about Dragon Empire? I'm just gonna look at you and go, I know nothing. I know nothing of these woods that you speak of. I know absolutely nothing about Dragon Empire. I know how to fight it. I know what the main stuff does. I know that the clans exist in there. But my goodness, if I were to write an essay about them, I would actually have to do some research. That is the only clan That is the only nation, I should say, where I just first of all the cards look the same to me, like Narukami, Kagero, Nupatama, whatever else, Murakumo. They all look kind of the same to me. Like I think Kagero is the only one out of the loop that actually looks like its own thing, and Tachikaze probably. I forgot that was part of that. But there is Overlord. There is indeed Outer Overlord is a thing, right? But you know that was a hard when I said that, I was like, of course, being as sarcastic as possible because I am so clueless. My roommate is literally a Murakumo player, so I know how a lot of the stuff works. I just don't care. I just don't care. No cares are given. I think this is a very little impact set, if I'm gonna be real with y'all. In the future, it might show some impact, but right now, this set is just kind of, it's just okay. You know, Murakumo's pretty good. Pretty good at preview right now. It's actually low-key been good. I think if you're a really experienced player, previous Murakumo, like before the revival collection just dropped pretty much, was like good. But if you didn't know how to fight it, you just got like auto loss. Like it would be literally an auto loss. Like you would actually go into a stalemate, or the deck would just stalemate you. It would play like a Yu-Gi-Oh deck. So if you knew how to fight around Murakumo, it wasn't terrible. But if you didn't know what you were doing, you would literally straight lose. Let's look at Festival Collection 1. Let's check this set out. I think this set probably did absolutely nothing, but it did get a couple cards. But honestly, this will probably be like this is the bling set. Just bling out your deck set. Because I remember that's what happened. The minute the set dropped, everyone just made their ride lines look really pretty. Is there anything in this set that actually gives it any reason to put it in anything but F tier? Nope, this is a straight F tier set. Straight F tier. This is worse than Token Rambu. That's how bad this set is. It's actually worse than Token Rambu. And I don't mean that in a bad way. I mean, just honestly, like, this is just a blank set. Like, there's literally no impact. So let's talk about Festival Collection 2. So let's kind of start breaking it down. So let's start with Orphist. Honestly, this card, I don't think this specific deck actually changes anything. I think it stays exactly the same. I don't think this makes Old Orphis better. This includes the cards that dropped with this. I also don't think this makes New Orphis better too. I think over time this card might get better, but I think right now Orphis has not moved at all. So does this set affect the meta overall? The answer is, I mean, not set, sorry. Does this card with the extra additions that they gave to Orphis affect meta? And the answer is no. So Orphis is out. Let's talk about Zorga. Now, Zorga is a little bit of a different story in my opinion. I think Zorga got a almost upgrade. A lot of people didn't like this card when it first dropped, and which is understandable. It's a soul blast, you have to discard all this and that, but I think actually testing the deck, you'll realize that it's not terrible. I would say that this is better than Blue Zorga, and it's kind of decent. I think it went up on the Stoicheo ladder of decks, to take. However, I don't think Zorga by itself impacts the meta enough. Mainly because while it's a good deck and it's strong, it can still brick. You can still somehow miss Alchemagic, and it's crazy that I'm saying that, but that is a fact. So I think Zorga makes a very small dent, because it actually isn't a terrible deck to take. If you were to pick between Magnolia, Flagberg, Roroa, Zorka, and pretty much all the decks, this actually isn't a bad option in my opinion. Yeah, I don't know if you could top with this. Like, you could, and people have. Like, I've seen, like, the Florida event, we had someone top with it, but I think you really gotta, like, you have to hit those dragons and those orders every single game to do anything, and sometimes the deck just still falls off. So this could be like a small thing. Amelia is a direct impact. It made Nirvana literally better. Oh, we got so... I don't know if you guys can hear the music, but yeah. Yeah, effect heals are definitely a in the future type of thing. There might be some very heavy metas, like an entire meta that's only revolved around like your opponent's Vanguard having a crit on them. And for that very reason, there'll be reason to run these at like maybe 2 copies, maybe even 3, who knows? And the same thing could be said for the other ones, the ones that like gain power or whatever, like if there's a certain power. I don't remember what the other one does. I think it's the one with the restanding. I don't remember. I don't even remember what the other heal does, but the other heal, if it has any impact towards that meta, I can definitely see people going towards that end for the same reason why I picked up my copies. So now, did this set do anything for the other decks? Like Bruce? No. Bastion? Definitely no. Greedon? No. Bravsagara? Kinda. Prison? Yes, though. This deck did make Prison I think this set did make Prison a little bit better. Let's go find that blue card. So there is also this card that some people have been testing. This card is very freaking annoying, but honestly, Gravidia that doesn't get changed. Like you don't really want to run, like you don't want to run this card. It's like, okay. I think it has a grade 2 or whatever. That's okay. Zorka got a pretty good order in this set, but honestly, outside of that, nothing really changes too much in this set. Oh, here's the grade 2. I actually would put the set here. I think it's just right in the middle. It's right in the smack middle. It's done some stuff. It's not like dog shit either, but I think it's just right in learners tier right here, just right in the smack middle of this entire tier list. Record of Ragnarok, we can't talk about these two sets, sadly. I think we can look at them off of Japan's results, honestly. I don't know, like I want to just put them here, but I don't know. Like I just don't know. Got pushed back. So I'm gonna make an I don't know tier because I really don't want to give people false information in case people decide to, like I have pretty good knowledge on everything except these two decks and these two sets, so I think it's pretty good. That is it. We did the entire Overdress tier list. We yoinked and twisted Hurley's tier list. Don't forget to give him a follow or a subscription, whatever it is that you would like to do on the YouTubers. And he also is live on Twitch, so you can check him out there. But other than that, this is our tier list. I think this one can go here, and this one can move. I think this one might be able to move up. I think this one is an average set. I think Learner is fine. You think Learner is fine? I think we can move this one too. Solid. We did it, guys. How do I exist mood? Definitely. Definitely a how do I exist mood. Boom. There we go.